Hello, hello, hello! I am Axel Cannon, and this is Stupid Game Experiments. It's time to wrap up another week with a fabulous hashtag Follow Friday devlog. For those of you who don't know, hashtag Follow Friday is a thing that happens on Fridays on Twitter where people recommend other accounts to follow. I stole that idea and brought it over to YouTube, and now I make videos sharing other YouTube game devs I find each week. We have several great YouTube game devs to cover this week, but before we get to them, let's do a quick little Follow Friday flashback. Here's what some of the game devs I've recommended in previous Follow Fridays have been up to recently. Idiot Programmer released his long-awaited second video, and it's a hilarious trip that you absolutely must go check out. Rob Lang has been busting my balls in the comment section of my latest video about my speed test challenge for all three game engines. I assume this is payback for all the jokes I made about his fire sprites. He's also uploaded the 49th devlog for his amazing game Clopper, so clop over to his channel to see his latest updates. Chris Shim has made some insane progress on his RPG in the last 2 months and shaping up to be an amazing game. Dash the Dev just joined us in the hashtag 100 Days of Game Dev Challenge, and he kicked it off with this cool little short about making snappable buildings. Finally, Open Arcana, who I featured just 2 weeks ago, has launched a Kickstarter for their game Ghost Follows. It's off to a good start, so it's worth taking a look. To see what the other game devs I've recommended in the past have been up to recently, head over to this page to get a complete list. I'll put a link to find it down in the description. And now, let's take a look at some new game devs worth checking out. First up is HybridLizard. Like so many of us, he found himself with a ton of half-finished projects and barely started concepts. And he decided he was going to create something simple enough that he would definitely be able to finish it in a reasonable amount of time. Enter Shape Warrior, a game where you have to catch the enemies in the center of your ship without letting them hit your outer walls. This is actually an interesting twist since normally you have to block enemies with your shields to protect your core. You can help him stay motivated to finish this game by checking out his YouTube channel, HybridLizard, and following him on Twitter at @TheHybridLizard. Next up is Charcool, who is making a 2D platformer called Rolly Run. He just released his latest devlog after taking 6 months off because he was experiencing a lack of motivation. Fortunately, he was able to get his motivation back thanks to paper cuts inspiring him to join the hashtag 100 Days of Game Dev Challenge over on Twitter. He's been making really good progress since coming back to the game, so head over to his YouTube channel Charcool to give him some extra motivation to keep going and follow him on Twitter at Charcool15. Next, we bounce on over to Tissue Inu, who is creating a 2D platformer called Krita. In his latest devlog, he showed off this really cool game mechanic where the player can hit enemy projectiles back at them to destroy the enemies. He talks about how this creates a risk-reward scenario for the player because they have to put themselves in the path of the projectile in order to send it back, and therefore they can get hit by the projectile if they miss. I think this adds a really interesting dynamic to the gameplay. Go over to his YouTube channel Tissue Inu and check it out for yourself, and follow him on Twitter at Tissue Inu. Last up is Copycat Games, who are making the game Copycat, where you play a cat that becomes adopted and then becomes a stray. In their latest video, they examine the different camera perspectives they use in their game and how these perspectives affect the gameplay and the experience of the player. I found the cat perspective extremely interesting since it allowed you to experience the world from a perspective very different from the one that you're used to. You can see this for yourself over on their YouTube channel, Copycat Game Devlog, and follow them on Twitter at Game Copycat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I had time for this week. I hope everyone has had an amazing week of game deving. If you've been hard at work, let me know down in the comments what you've accomplished this week. If you need a little extra motivation, you should also join us in our hashtag 100 Days of Game Dev Challenge over on Twitter. There's not a set starting date, so you can feel free to jump in on day one right now. Also, here on YouTube, we're slowly taking over the hashtag 100 Days of Game Dev page, so go ahead and create your own hashtag 100 Days of Game Dev devlogs here as well. Of course, there are plenty of other great YouTube game devs out there that I just didn't have time to get to this week. So if you want to help support them, join in on hashtag Follow Friday and hashtag Game Dev on either YouTube, Twitter, or both. I will, of course, put the links to all the awesome channels I featured in this video down in the description. While you're down there, take a moment to show your support for these hashtag Follow Friday videos by hitting that like button. You should also take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on these weekly game dev highlights. As always, Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.